video is sponsored by Surfshark. On a scale from woman to man, so excited are you? So this is pre-release, Never Gonna Give You Up, Coffee Man. We have wig and handbag. And of course, stand and card. I forgot about the handbag. Ooh, squishy. Ooh. Boyfriend number 2. He is very squishy.
Soft boy.
Damn. Like a swimming cap. Am I gonna give him up? Very good. I think he has the male feet. I was under the impression that we were getting girls' feet.
Let's see.
Yeah, no, I think he has something else here. Maybe at some point they changed it?
Maybe he can wear some female shoes.
But yeah, that's sort of the point, that you can mix and match. We're gonna give him big shoes anyway. We're doing Knuckles. I like the squishy. It's like a stress relief toy. When you're anxious, just
Squeeze some butt.
squeeze a butt. The butt's not that squishy, maybe this way. Unboxing the Oga. So, my hair is not the best today, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try my best to make Knuckles' hair reasonably good. But before we start, like, share, subscribe, tell your grandma about us. Our grandma is always watching. Click the sponsor link, check our Patreon page. Sometimes we give free stuff there. Check out our merch, check out our pattern store. Barb is working super hard on those patterns to be the best quality ever. Thank you for your support.
These spikes call for some kind of a protective hairstyle like dreadlocks or twists. I did a quick test on what thickness we like the most, and we chose jumbo twists with 2 strands of yarn. So let's twist some hair, and because it's a very self-explanatory process, let's do a quick analysis of Knuckles. Despite having a light color snout in most of the portrayals, I think we can all agree that Knuckles is culturally black. He was initially coded as Jamaican, he is darker in some games, the soundtrack is often inspired by music popular in Black American communities, and he's voiced by Idris Elba. It's not easy to say what style he has because he only has shoes, but when I was researching fanarts, I noticed some patterns. First is a gym bro, or a 2000s hip-hop bro, but that's a bit boring when it comes to clothes. Then second is an ancient Native American tribal influence because of his Echidna tribe backstory, but we are not from any of those cultures and I don't feel like I have enough knowledge about it to style a character like this. And the third is a Wild West cowboy sheriff vibe, which I also have little knowledge of, but it's closer to us culturally through TV and other media. So we'll try to mix that with the casual 2000s hip-hop bro vibe and we'll see what happens. Okay, so at this point I ran out of things to glue, so come on, let's twist again! And the next day I glued the last few twists and it looks like this. I want them to lay a bit more flat, so I covered the whole head with plastic wrap for a few days. If you're not familiar with the plot of the second Sonic movie, Knuckles starts off as the main antagonist. But really, he's just doing what he does best, protecting the Master Emerald from falling into the wrong hands. Which is exactly what Surfshark, the sponsor of today's video, does, but for your internet. Surfshark is a VPN, a tool that keeps your online activity safe and encrypted, especially when you're on public Wi-Fi. Basically, it guards your personal info from hackers, trackers, and Dr. Eggmans of the world who want your data. It also lets you watch content from different countries. You can change your virtual location with one click and access all the shows in the world. You don't even need to use a golden ring for that, unlike Sonic, loser. Plus, it works on unlimited devices. One account covers your laptop, phone, tablet, even Dr. Robotnik's drones if you happen to have one. And that's not all. Surfshark Alert lets you know if your email shows up in a data leak before it becomes a real problem, like that time I was about to board a 10-hour flight and couldn't log into Netflix because someone stole the password. That was before we started using Surfshark VPN. Protect your Chaos Emeralds, and by that we mean your data. Check out our link in the description and use code ENCHANT for a great deal with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Not that you'll need it. Since I plan to cover up the trousers with chaps to honor Knuckles' cowboy style, I went the easy route and used a ready-made pattern.
Danny very graciously has shared some patterns for the Smart Doll Boy, so I just decided to do the jeans pattern for this.
I found this little piece of thin-ish corduroy that I thought would work best in terms of what I had available in my fabric stash color-wise. I straightened it out with an iron as much as I could and managed to fit the pieces if I cut into the seam allowance of one of the pant legs, but I did manage to fit everything.
This is gonna be tough, because I usually don't sew with this sort of color.
I decided to go with the one that would blend in the most.
Thankfully, it comes with a bobbin.
I don't think I'm gonna go into much detail here because I made many a pant in my lifetime, so I'm just gonna highlight the details on the fly in the pockets here. I made sure I did a double top stitching everywhere for that extra zhuzh, except for I used the most blended thread.
You can really tell that the pile is going in opposite directions. The sewing gods really must hate me that the bobbin ran out on the waistband, which is one of the more difficult things to do. This was supposed to be the easy follow a pattern, have fun, relax on Sunday evening. Are you forking kidding me? I swear I am being tested today. I would rather not be tested today, please. Thank you. I'll add a hook and eye because I'm tired of snaps. I think they look pretty okay. The booty's not the best, okay? Don't look. I think they could get distressed a bit, but he's gonna have chops on it, so it's not gonna matter that much. I'm tired.
Now it's time to make the chaps, or rather these chaps-inspired detachable pant leg street-style sporty modern trouser thing. I cut these big bell-shaped pant legs from a red denim, and to make them a bit more extra, I wanted to add some stripes on the side. Unfortunately, my heat transfer vinyl wasn't long enough. Luckily, I have a pocket on the side, so we can split the stripes in half. I cut them so very straightly with my X-Acto knife at first, but it turned out that my guillotine did a better job, and with both colors cut, I could try and align them on the fabric. I used a bit of washi tape and took the whole thing to my heat press.
I would take you to my heat press setup, but I have some very weird things going on here, so I use this to press. Trust me.
I made little pocket flaps and some side cargo pockets, which actually are from my cargo pant pattern. The chaps, I think in general, will based on that, but in one piece and a bit wider. I hemmed the top strap, which will double as attachment point, and I did the hem at the bottom, and the chaps were basically done. It's a really simple garment, and I wanted these to be quite modern so that the outfit wouldn't give Halloween cowboy costume vibes. I designed the head to be inspired by Echo from Arcane and Miles Morales from Spider-Man, and so that he's going to be a little bit more cartoony / semi-anime style than our previous Sonic characters, but honestly, I don't mind that he's a little bit different. He's not a hedgehog, so, I mean, yeah. This is the shape I came up with after a few tries. I sent it to Barb, she prepared it for printing, and we 3D printed it in resin. Welcome to the world, my first 3D printed, 3D sculpted son. I sometimes get questions about how the paint is so smooth and what paint I use. Well, it's always a custom mix of acrylic and vinyl paints, and it takes like 2 to 3 hours to mix a good color and paint the head. Why does it take so long? Because color matching is not easy. When the paint dries, it can turn darker, but also the amount of layers can change the look of the paint. Like here you can see this light brown after many layers, it's now too dark. So first I'm adding a layer of lighter paint and then a more saturated mix on top. And after a lot of layers, I have a good match. I even added a bit of blush to the cheeks. I always top the paint with 2 coats of MSC before I start sketching, so I don't scratch the paint by accident with a pencil. Now let's make the real deal, the face up. I want his eyes to be anime kind of simple, but with more realistic hairy eyebrows and some stylized shadows and highlights to marry all the styles together. Here you can see me realizing that the red pencil will not survive spraying with MSC, so I'm switching to white to make a good light base first. And as I said, I got a little bit inspired by Echo and Miles, so I'm adding the arcane highlights under the eyes, on the nose and chin. He's a fearless warrior, so I thought he could have a scar or 2 on his face. Wild pencil also didn't really survive, but it gave me a good sense of what I'm doing, and now I can cover it with something more pigmented, like white vinyl paint. And on this kind of base, red looks amazing, bright and saturated.
My vision of Knuckles is a bit grumpy and serious, but also protective and loving, like an older brother to our Amy and Shadow. Like, he thinks he's cool, but he's not really, I really like the movie Knuckles, but he can be a bit dark sometimes.
What do you like to do for fun?
Vengeance.
I have to admit that one of my favorite depictions of Knuckles is in Sonic Boom. I know, the dumb Knuckles era, and he was not designed to be dumb, but rather stubborn and naive. But oh gosh, that man is so funny.
This is fun! And only mildly damaging to my kidneys!
I could stop here, he looks good, I like it, but I want it to be more busy. So I'm going to add some eyelashes on the black shape, just like I did for Shadow and Amy, but this time less wispy and more, like solid, more manly. And then, a controversial move, but I planned it from the beginning, a beard. And I don't know, he just screams for facial hair in my opinion. That chin is made for a goatee. First, I'm sketching the shape with a pencil and then adding some red blush with pastels, and then I'm filling it with red paint to match the style of the brows. He already looks so cool, but he also needs eyes. I'm painting the sketch when the eyes are placed into the head so I can see the proper size and shape. Then I take the eyes out and add the rest of the iris and pupil. I couldn't resist adding some small drawings around since it's not going to be visible anyway. I can paint whatever I want there. Red and purple is a very weird combo to me. I think I've never used it in our designs. I know my color palettes are too safe, so it's good to be pushed into not obvious color choices like this. And this is how he looks. Wow, so handsome. I'm always having the fun painting something new, like this guy.
Now I know we would love to stare at these abs forever. Not mine. I don't know why I pointed to myself. But let's give the man an option to cover up a bit and make a jacket. I'll make it cropped so you can still see the abs.
I didn't really have any brown fabric that would be the right shade, so I decided that it is finally time to print my own fabric. I used some sticky vinyl that I don't anyways use as a backing on my fabric. And then I just run it through the printer. It's much easier than it seems. As you can see, I had to do it twice because I did the wrong color the first time, or rather, my sweet little older sister sent me the wrong color code. I didn't have enough space on the paper to print cuffs, so I used the badly printed sleeves to cut the cuffs instead. I cut the rest out of the same red denim as I did the chaps. The pattern for this is available on our website, by the way, so if you want to make a jacket for your guy and support us at the same time, check it out. I started off strong, constructing the fronts and back of the jacket.
I'm supposed to put this here before I stitch these in. I'll just pretend that there's a pocket here and just do like a faux stitching and do the flap and skip this. I just started and I thought I was gonna have like a nice, quick, efficient sewing session. Everything is fine. Oh my god, I just did the same thing. Where's the flap? Barb, where's the flap? Fucking hell. I was just telling myself, because I talk to myself a lot, that I haven't used my machine in a while. And, you know, what could have gone wrong? I have the seam rip! Oh, I forgot there's a collar here. Let's do it now. I cut one on the bias so that it stretches, and that's the underside. The under color will, like, be able to stretch to everything. Recently somebody told me that sleeves are difficult, and I agree. So here's my tricks. I pin the heck out of sleeves, okay? You will be sewing over pins when sewing sleeves. That's my opinion. That's my opinion! If it's a little gathered, that's fine. If you need more length on either of the edges, just snip it. Crucial part is that even if you pin from the other side, you will be sewing from the jacket side. Always, okay? While you're sewing, you will be, you know, like splaying this so that while you sew, it's straight. And then after you move on to this part, you will again splay this part apart so that you're not making any puckers. Does that make sense?
5 minutes later.
It's hilarious that I just gave you tips and then did this. Oh my god. Amazing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save the good work that I did and redo the shit work that I did. That happens to me more than I would like to admit. So if that happens, that means there's not enough pins here. And you try again and you get better at it. You know, you laugh at your mistake and then it's beautiful. See? No puckers, no nothing. Amazing.
I hope you enjoyed this motivational segment. You can bet now in the comments whether I kept the sleeves or not. I finished this jacket with a facing so that the collar and front can be open and still look good. I know myself, and I know that regardless of the amount of pins, my collar always comes out. So of course I had to reinforce it a bit, but in the end, it always turns out okay.
If it was easy, I don't think I would like it. Doing hard things means you're growing, so I'm gonna do some top stitching and I'll come back when I'm done. I very adamantly encouraged our Patreon member, Twisted Angel, to try doing these tiny buttons on the sewing machine, and I would feel like a phony if I didn't also do it right now, because I was like, oh, if I can do it, I can do it. So I feel like I have to prove to myself that I also still can do it. I'll be right back. Okay, that worked. Kind of, somewhat. I need to find something sharper to cut this. Will a button pass through this? Probably. Will I be buttoning it up? No, because it will hide the abs. And we need to see the abs. This guy is 1,000,000% muscle. It's finito.
The jacket wasn't quite long and cowboy enough, so I made a vinyl-backed strip of fabric so that it wouldn't fray, which I cut into tassels and added that to the bottom edge of the jacket.
No, please tell me that's not too short. It is too short. Scheiße. It's for the stand, okay?
I knew from the very start that a vest would fit Knuckles, and the printed fabric, the brown, was just not it. So...
How to seam rip your sleeves tutorial. Jeszcze kurna je zoverlockowałam. Step 1. Complain.
After removing the sleeves and fixing the side seams, I ripped the armholes more instead of hemming them for that bad boy look. And to finish the look, I made a simple bandana or like a necktie thing. It's not a necktie, but it's a thing that you tie on your neck. That was just to give Knuckles something that was that white moon shape that he has. And the last bit was a belt with a big cowboy buckle. I designed it in a way that I could use a piece of filament to be the pin that makes the other pin swivel. Is that genius or what? I'm not calling myself a genius, but the idea, okay?
He may not be our typical doll with a lot of accessories and, cutesy stuff, but he still needs some shoes, a hat, a belt, all that accessorizing for men. So let's make it.
First, let's take care of the shoes. I took Shadow's shoes, which were sculpted by me on this base, and I modified them to be more chunky, but also more round and with a different sole. I think this metal Lego plate is universally hated in Sonic fandom, so I replaced it with 6 knobs next to the ties. I honestly have no vocabulary to describe making shoes, as it's usually Barb's job. We 3D printed them, and after some sanding, they are ready for painting. I'll stick to the red, yellow, green combo, but the shapes are a bit different from the original design, so the colors will have a bit different placement. I was thinking of a more flat design for Knuckles, but Amy has very tall shoes, and he can't be shorter than Amy. Now look at the gray area. This is the greatest example of how simple shading and highlights can change the whole look of your prints. And after I added more details to the red and white parts, the shoes are almost ready. I also painted the cuffs green, but I think they will be entirely covered by pants, so I'm not sure if we're going to use them. We found this cowboy hat online and 3D printed it, but it had a lot of printing lines that were impossible to sand, so I covered it in thick primer a few times. I currently don't have any good brown paint, so every time I mix brown, it takes so long. But I got a nice shade that will match the rest of the design. I also modeled these simple spikes and stars to decorate the hat, jacket, and his gloves. I'm painting the inside red and the star yellow, and then covering the yellow parts with glue and gold metal leaves. I have shiny stars and gold particles flying everywhere in the workshop. I recently ran out of gold accessories, so I jumped in my victory chariot and bought some wires, jump rings, so I also bought these thick beads, and they will be perfect for adding to the twists. 1, it's a nice decoration. 2, they will weight down some of the twists and make them lay more flat as a result. Some more wire and rings, and he looks like this. I love the result. It's so different from what we usually make, but I absolutely adore how it turns out. It's spiky and thick, just like Knuckles' spikes.
I want a more smooth blend from the cowboy to the hip-hop, so I'll try to make a brown fade on top of the chaps. I tested it first if I can make it seamless on this type of fabric with a brush, but it didn't work, so an airbrush will be my weapon of choice. I also did the same to the pants, so they are not so beige, but more like reddish-brown. I still have some accessories to add, so while I'm doing that, let's thank our patrons.
Our top Lost Sister tier supporters, Stephanie Deer, Adia Bear, Barb from the Future, and Red X. And our cousin tier Patreons, Yesilis, Valerie, My Stitch and Dollyverse, Nylini, Reese's Cup, Candy Guts, Art Boxy, Willa Vanilla, Hope Z, North Soul, Laurenth, Sofa Cushion, Angel Silver Rose, Avon Rose, Malachite, Alia Knight, Whimsy, Whitetails, Kit the Caroline, Guido Kato, Bird BTW, Krista Hopper, Dull Dragon, Eden Cassidy, Leon Drostings, DM Bakairo Smith, Melissa Novoa, Rinth, Fan of TA, Ashley, Mikey Lemon, Andrea Selector Kane, Burial T, The Barbie Witch, Stephanie, Karaho, Jane Beck, Karabu, Ninja Star Dezino, Dream Up, and last but not least, Catherine Nodden. Thanks, guys! And with that, Knuckles is ready to rumble. I have to admit that I didn't want to buy the boy initially. I know, I didn't think it was a good investment. We already had one boy that spent 2 years under my bed in a box at first, and then we never customized him. But when the opportunity presented itself, we thought he would really fit in with the Sonic series, and I'm actually very happy that we got him to customize. I really want to work on some more men's fashions, even though I think they can be a bit boring sometimes. There are some video games inspirations that I have on my radar. I wanted to thank Surfshark once more for sponsoring this video. If you are shopping around for a VPN solution, we would greatly appreciate it if you click the link in the description because it really helps our channel. Thanks! We plan to stick mainly to girls, but do you have some boy doll suggestions? Maybe favorite characters that will look nice as a male doll? Let us know in the comments. Make sure to follow us on Easter. Make sure to follow us on Instagram for some sneak peeks and subscribe for future videos. Join Patreon for extra content. Have an enchanted day, and we'll see you next time. Happy Easter!